Alright guys, for my last video, I was able to go outside for a little bit because I wanted to help my mom do a little bit of food shopping. Got some air, took a breath to help myself feel even better about this whole pre-order situation that I mentioned previously. I decided to revisit the timeline theory of For the Fans that I did almost a month ago because I got a couple of things wrong, and while they don't mess up my timeline theory too much, I do just want to clarify some things because I've been rereading it via audiobook, and a couple of extra details were brought to my attention, so I wanted to make some clarifications and basically just do a follow-up. So let's get into it. So these are some of the original notes that I took back then. I made a couple of corrections because, like I said, there were a few details that I missed previously, but this is what I came up with. Elon Musk finished buying Twitter in April of 2022. The book came out in February of 2023, as confirmed by Miss Nyla K herself during an Instagram live stream that she did recently. And then, like my previous video, Chiron explicitly mentions going out into the frigid air of December in chapter 17. I think it was like a couple pages apart that I somehow missed. So, this is the new timeline theory, or rather the revised version that I came up with. So, I decided that the story takes place in chapters 1 and 2 in very late April to very early May of 2019. And then chapter 3 would have to take place in November of 2019 because it's a 6-month difference. And Chiron mentions that his dad proposed to Avi's mother around Thanksgiving. So I think it works. Now, chapter 4 is where things get a little bit tricky because it takes place 1 year later after the engagement. But Chiron mentions that his dad and his stepbrother Avi's mom got married last September, but I have to assume that he meant September of 2020 because you can't plan a whole wedding in just 1 month. No matter how rich you are, it's just not possible. So I put it in somewhere between November of 2020. It's the best that I could come up with. Now, again, this is where it gets kind of tricky. Chapter 5 supposedly takes place another year after the wedding during Avi and Chiron's freshman year of college. And I decided to set it in the fall of 2021, possibly September. And then chapter 6 is only 4 months later. So I set that in very early 2022, possibly January or February, only because, at least the last time I checked, the college years work slightly differently. I guess maybe it depends on where you go. It's been a while since I've been in school. I mean, I'm currently in school right now, but I decided to make that decision later in life. Anyways, that's a story for another day. Right now, I want to explain why I set the timeline like this, the way I did. So, this is the reason why I set chapters 5 and 6 where I did. And it's because I have to assume that chapters 7 through 18 specifically take place from March through December of 2022. Because, as I mentioned previously in chapter 17, Chiron mentions Elon Musk buying Twitter. That did not happen, as we know, until April 2022. And then in chapter 17 of the book, the same area where he makes that statement, he also explicitly mentions the chill of December. So, like I said, I have to naturally assume that it's about an 8 to 9 month span. give or take, from March all the way until December. Now, I'm still listening to the audiobook. I left off on chapter 18, and I will definitely take more notes and keep adding more clues that I find as I go. But I hope you enjoyed this video and that it's a little bit more accurate this time around.